Hi everyone, I am working on a Gotham City Sirens piece today, and to start with, this is the layout that I chose. So to show size, here's my hand in comparison. So it is, let's get a ruler and actually measure it. It is like 1 3/4 inches in size and a little over 1 inch wide. So that's how I started, and I just did the layout. I had a few other different ones. I thought about putting them on a car, so I did a few different scribbles. You can see all my scribbles. Then I thought of putting one of the girls in the foreground, and I had that pose for the foreground, and I was just trying out a bunch of different things. Here was another layout I tried. And I did like this one, and I actually started working on it and started making it bigger. But in the end, I decided instead of leaving all this extra space all around, I went for a simpler version, and so I did this. And you can see I set up the bodies and all of that. And then I pulled it into Photoshop and enlarged Ivy, because I realized that Ivy is actually a bit taller than Harley, for instance, and so I needed to enlarge her. So I did that on the computer so that I didn't have to draw it twice. And so right now what I'm doing is I printed it out at the same size, and I'm working on, whoops, shoot. So right now what you can hear me on this one because I'm on my iPad. Sorry everybody, I need to mute that. Okay, here we go. This is so that I can see your comments. I have it on the iPad to the right of me. Okay, so this is the layout that I did, and I have it now underneath, and so you're going to be seeing how I transfer. And we'll start with that, but hopefully I'll be able to actually get it done, and we can start working, or I will start working on putting together the outfits and actually making them look like who they are, not just mannequins. So there's going to be some lines there while the light table turns on, but now you can see through, and so I've just got it as very, very basic layout. And I had Catwoman holding her rope. I want to put some vines around. I want to have Ivy's hair going all swirly and pretty up there. So you're going to see transferring to start with, and then I'll finish the sketch. And the way I work is I do a 8.5 by 11 size, and then I'll be blowing that up to 11 by 17 and finalizing the line. So I usually have two pieces, one sketch and then one full size. So here we go. All I'm doing right now is just transferring. Now, I'm going to have to do this so that I can see, or I'm going to turn off my light so that I can actually see what I'm doing. So here we go. There's a lot of sunlight outside, and it makes it hard to see through the paper. But here you can see now too. Actually, you know what? I might close my blinds. That might help. There we go. Okay, so now you can see what I'm doing. So I am tracing my own lines here, and I've put in the border because an 11 by 17 is tall and thin. I've placed the border throughout all the way around so that I know I can't go outside of that border. And I'm just getting the layout onto paper. And this part I try to do as loosely and quickly as I can. You can't see anything, Nikki? I'm so sorry. Is it that you can't see my lines? Now here Harley and Ivy are, Harley and Catwoman are standing a little bit in front of Ivy. So she's kind of in between and behind. So they're going to be overlapping her slightly. Oh yeah, I'm filming sideways now. Alright, so this is her shoulder line, this is the shoulder muscle. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the body right, which is really all I've put down on the background as well. And then sometimes I'll realize that in my layout, I try in my layouts to go really quick and just keep it to form as much as possible. For this, when I transfer it, also that's all I'm trying to do is just get the form in, the basic shapes, and then I'll actually start working on drawing it and getting some of the detail in afterwards, because I actually can't see a ton super clearly through a light table. So it's just to copy the basic lines. For this, I'm using a Pentel Twist Erase. It's a 0.9 millimeter pencil. It's kind of more like a giant crayon. I work with thinner pencils once I am starting to put down the actual lines. Okay, I'm gonna go like this so you can see I'm working towards the bottom right now. And this is her lower back and those little dimple thingies. And I just am trying to also think about the muscles. So like her butt connects to her hamstrings, which also stick out slightly. And then this is the back of her knee, and over here is the front of her knee. Oh, it's your favorite pencil too? That's awesome. Yeah, it actually prevents me from putting in too much detail at this particular stage, which is why I like working with this pencil, because there's really no way I could put in all the detail. So I'm gonna go back up and finish Harley now. I mean, not Harley, Catwoman. I'm just gonna finish her head. And I see that I made the, her goggles stick out too far on that one side because they're curving around her head. And this is the center line of her head. And I wanted to put her kind of biting on her finger. So I've got her finger right here. And that's from this arm. So I sort of drew through and, you know, figured out that her arm would go here and then turn around like that. So her hand is coming toward us in this particular piece. And then the knuckles. And I'll work on fixing all these things more once I finalize it a little bit more. And there's her ear. Cheekbone goes down towards the chin. Basic placement for eyes. Miguel's asking if there's any recommendations for drawing anatomy. It's really just draw as much as you possibly can. Keep trying different angles, different placements. All of that helps towards giving you a better understanding of anatomy. I'm still trying to work on it all the time. You know, I'll draw something and it just does not look right. I'm sure there's things here that I'm going to work on with the anatomy and try to fix as I'm working through. So we can talk about it then too, as far as like setting up a body. With hands, I really just make them a block when I'm starting. So like this is the fingers, here's where the knuckles are, and then it turns down and away from us because she's holding her rope. So I just draw the bottom part of her fingers, and this is her rope. And so it goes like this. I'm doing the handle is right here, and then the rest is just kind of wrapping around. At least that's my basic idea. Ivy's leg is right there, so I might have to change things around and move it to make it work. I just know I want to have it somewhere around there. And that's her back knee. Okay, so Catwoman is transferred. Now let's start in on Ivy. And I know I want her hair flowing all around, so that's going to be fun. And for those that are just coming on, this was my sketch layout. I just pulled it into the computer because I realized that I drew Ivy too short. So I blew Ivy up on the computer and printed it out. And I fixed up a couple things. And I couldn't decide what to do with Harley's hand or her face. At first I was going to have her looking up. Then I decided to turn it and have her looking down to kind of bring the piece together, as they're all a little group here. Oh, thank you, Brian. I'm so glad that you love Divinica. That's awesome. It is a really fun project to work on. So all these things, like these lines, are obviously not in Ivy's suit. I do that just so that I kind of break up the body into blocks, and they're not all wearing like booty shorts or big panties or anything like that in the final. It's just, it helps me break the body up and figure out where everything is. So all this stuff is literally just forming lines that I use, and it's how I take it from the tiny little layout I had. See, this is the little layout, and then I enlarge that on the computer and fix it up a little bit. I enlarge it, print it out to this size, draw it, and then if I still have any issues with it, like how I felt Ivy was too small, then I fix that on the computer, print it out, and this is my step 2 for the actual sketch. And as time goes on, I hope to like keep dropping out steps. So I have done it a few times where I'll just go straight from the little tiny layout that I did all the way to the actual 11 by 17. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And for this one, because it's 3 characters and I want to make sure that it's done right, I'm doing the extra step of doing a 8.5 by 11 sketch. Okay, we're not going to be seeing this part, but I'm still drawing Ivy's rib cage under where Catwoman will be, just so that I know if everything's in the right spot, because Ivy still doesn't quite look right to me, so I'm going to keep working on her. Like, her belly button is down too low. So this is the center line, and I want her to kind of be jutting her hip out, so that's why it's going to be going a little more over toward Harley. And even though these lines up here of her hair are not where I plan to keep them, I still put in some really fast motion movement lines like this, because it even just gives me an idea of flow, even if I don't plan to keep those the way that they are. And I'm going to keep working on Ivy. Oh, thank you, David. I'm glad you like the Catwoman pose. No, this isn't a cover, actually. I am drawing it for fun, and I'll probably have it for conventions, but no, it's not an actual cover. I wish. Okay, and again, I'm going to draw Ivy's hip through so that I'm putting everything in the right place. And I know where her leg is going. And then this is the top of her kneecap. And then I'm turning her knee, so she's kind of leaning on that side, which her hip would go out like that. And here's her calf. Thanks for being here, Robert. Eric, for this one, yeah, I'm going to transfer the drawing twice, because I'm going to draw it at 8.5 by 11, and then I'm going to finish the sketch, get their outfits in, make sure I'm happy with it, and then transfer it to 11 by 17, which I know is an additional step. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but for this one I will. Have I drawn Red Sonja before? Only as... Oh no, yes, I did one Red Sonja exclusive a couple years ago, and it was like it was a Conan and Red Sonja together book. I don't know what number or issue it was. I'd have to check. But yeah, one time I did Red Sonja and Conan. And then I've, of course, done a few Red Sonja commissions here and there. Okay, I'm almost done here. The Harley part will go really quick. And I'm just putting Ivy's hand one up here. And then Harley is going to be holding Ivy's hip right here, which again, I need to work on her fingers and placement, but I'll do that. And here goes Harley. Thanks everyone for your kind comments. It means a lot. Oh, Robert asks, how do I enlarge it? If I'm still on live, I'll actually just turn my camera and show you guys. It'll be from a bit of a distance because I have my computer at a different desk. But what I do is I scan it, and then I made myself a little template, which is two 8.5 by 11 stacked on top of each other in the computer. And I take this and I blow it up to an 11 by 17, and because I don't actually have an 11 by 17 printer, I just put the two 8.5 by 11s together and tape them, and then that's how I transfer it onto an 11 by 17. I just blow it up on the computer, print it out in two pieces, and splice it together. Oh, hey Nick, yes I did. Thanks for talking with me about it and deciding. I went for what you suggested. Whoop whoop. Again, placement of all these little bits, like even Harley's, the little Joker hat she's wearing. I probably will move things around a little bit here and there. But I've had people asking me to show my process, not just the like final work, but how I take it from layout to the final stage. So this is just another part of the process. And you can see how I break up the bodies and draw in the rib cage, and I kind of use booty shorts or granny panties to show where their like pelvis bone is, where I would put a belt if there's a belt. It just helps me know where the body is and where I want everything to be. Okay, so I have Harley in front of Ivy right now, but I'm gonna have to see how that looks. If it makes Ivy look odd, that both the girls are in front of her and it cuts her body weird, I might have to move it a little bit. But if I decide to do that, I can always do that at the time that I enlarge it for 11 by 17. Oh, thank you, Eric. I always feel like I have really weird hands. My fingers are double jointed, so check this out. That's how I point. I can't keep my fingers straight. It just pops out. I have little rubber fingers. Oh, thank you, Martin. I'm glad you like seeing the behind the scenes part. I wasn't sure if you guys can even see through a light table. So if this is really annoying, you know, definitely give me feedback, everyone, because if you really don't like having to look at a light table and see the transfer process, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm just trying it out. Again, I'm not going to be drawing the top of Harley's bust like that. These are just my personal direction lines and where I cut the body. And this is the back of Harley's arm going through. Ivy's arm is right here going around the back, and Harley's arm is going all in between Ivy and her arm. At least I don't bite my nails. Yeah, no, that's the one thing I've never gotten into is biting my nails. All right, just working on the hip. Now right now I have Ivy's hand right here on Harley's hip, and I'm just doing the shape so that I know where I want to put it. If at the end I feel like it's cutting into Harley's body and making it look odd, I'll move it around. But for now, this is where I have it. And again, here's just more direction lines. This is going down the center of Harley's body. And then these are the ones going down the sides, which kind of show me where like ab muscles are and all of that stuff, since comic girls have such fit bodies. Thanks for hanging around for a second, David. Have a good one. Just making sure you guys can see what I'm working on. So here's Harley's knee, kind of cuts like that, and then we'd be seeing the, like, because we're looking slightly from above, Harley's thigh is covering some of her calf, but we all still see most of it. It's just it goes back and behind like this and connects to the leg. And then I'm drawing the back of her heel. Let's see if I can push this up a little bit. All right. I'm drawing the back of her heel. I'll have to see if cutting the foot like that looks really weird, because that's where the page cuts. I'll move things around a little bit, but for now I've got it like that. So here's her ankle. This is her heel, and I kind of break up the foot into a bunch of different pieces, just so that I know how to draw it. I'm very technical. That's awesome. All right, and here's Harley's back leg. So I know that it connects to her butt in the back, and then this is where we would see it, because we're kind of seeing the whole inside of Harley's thigh, and her knee is pointing that way. I may move this leg. It might be too like, woohoo, I'm flying, and she's supposed to have all her weight on the floor. So I may need to move the leg a little bit over, but that I'll work on later. I don't need to do that right this moment. Okay, and then I'm going to give Harley her cute little gun, but for now I'm just doing basically a rectangle for her hand. So I want her wrist bent. She's not trying to look fierce or badass at the moment. It's kind of more of a cutesy, playful pose, holding a gun. But even her gun is like cute and funny looking. So we've got that, and then these are the other fingers. So this one's on the trigger, and then these are the other fingers right here. Here's the knuckles, and they are holding the handle of the gun right here. This is the back of the gun. It's kind of round and chubby, so I'm going to make it pretty short. And then here's the trigger. Again, I'm just loosely putting the lines down. I'll work on it more as I start focusing on each one of the characters. Okay. And I'm just going to do these lines as directions for me, because I may put her with lines in her suit and different things like that. And I want to make sure that we see her back muscles and the little lines connecting, because even like, oops, sorry, you guys couldn't see. So like right here, usually there's a seam on clothing even, you know, on the shoulder, and then it goes down into the sleeve. So this kind of stuff I may even put on her suit so it shows direction and perspective, because she's going back. And this one is more in the foreground, and we barely even see her back shoulder. But I did put it here a little bit, so you know, to imply that yes, I didn't forget an arm. Okay. Alrighty, I think I'm done with the transfer, so now I'll just start working on it and drawing their suits and getting everything ready. But this is where I'm at right now. As you can see, the lines are very, very basic. But I've made some decisions on where I want things to be. This was my initial layout. I pulled it into the computer because I needed to enlarge Ivy, for anyone who didn't see that at the beginning. And I started out with a teeny weeny little layout right there. So like it's, I think I measured it, it's 1 3/4 inches by about 1 inch. All right, and now I'm gonna say bye to this particular one. This is a 0.9 millimeter pencil, and I really just use it for transferring and filling in areas, or I don't know if I'm in the mood for drawing with a thicker pencil. But for the most part, I actually use this, which is a Alvin Draft Tech pencil. It's about $6 online. I took off the clip because it gets in my way, so you just pop it off. And I've used these so much that they no longer have their logo on them, but it's an Alvin Draft Tech, and it's a 0.3 millimeter, so it's nice and thin. And then I can put in detail. Ted, no, it's not a commission. I pretty much have just commissioned myself for this one. I just wanted to draw them. And yeah, so the final sketch and the final original are available if anyone is interested once they're done, obviously, since this is just at the very beginning stage. Do I use reference pics models? Yeah, sometimes, and I will look at, I won't ever take one thing completely, but I do look at like form or a girl standing with her knee up and how that would look, and then I kind of just draw it on random little pieces of paper like this. And then from these, I go into a fuller drawing. When I was first starting, or like as a kid and all that, I definitely looked at picture reference a ton, and I still do, because, you know, seeing the way the human body is what helps you be able to know how to draw it. And it really helps with anatomy and all of those things. Thank you so much that you like how I'm explaining things, and it's really fun when you all ask questions. So I'm definitely here to answer questions. It's better than just drawing in absolute silence. So it's really fun to be drawing with all of you. And this is just, I'm wearing a running shirt. I am no longer a runner, but I am wearing a shirt for running, and it has thumb holes, which I really, really love. I have very long arms, and there aren't that many that fit me and are still long enough to reach my thumb hole. So I'm really, really happy with these particular shirts that are long enough, yay! And I also use it as almost like a drawing guard, so that I'm not getting my skin on the actual paper. I want to preserve the paper as much as possible. No, I need to move this so you guys can see what I'm doing. I still don't have my the proper handle for my my phone right now. It's connected to, I don't know if I can show you. It's not gonna work. Oh yeah, see? It's connected to a kettlebell on my desk. But soon, it's because it can't reach from the actual side of my desk. So my husband Dan rigged this for me with my kettlebell. But soon I'll actually have a proper arm that fits on my desk, so that I can show things a little bit more freely while I'm drawing, and have a better view for all of you, and that's coming soon. Okay, so now I'm going to start actually putting in their costumes, and that's going to be fun. Thanks again, everybody, for your kind compliments. You're all so awesome and so kind. And I personally see so much in my work that I can improve in and do better at. And I'm always trying. I have some art teaching books that I try to read every night. If I can stay awake, I really try to. And I'm doing my best to study while I'm working, and you know, learn more about perspective and anatomy, and look at my own work later, and you know, I'll see mistakes that I've made, and I'll notice them, and that also helps me learn. I'm almost learning by trial and error to become a better artist, and faster, and all of that stuff. So it's exciting and it's fun. You know, it's sometimes hard to like see something online that I drew, and it's like, oh my god, I wish I could fix that one little thing. But it's all in the process, I guess. It's how I can see if I'm actually learning something and improving. Ted, I'm gonna actually do the classic Harley on this one with her little Joker hat and everything. So she will be black and red. I'm going to draw the Ivy, and the version of Ivy where she has like the green bathing suit with the green tights. I'm gonna go like as classic with all of them as possible. Yeah, keeping the proportion right is hard. I have to erase all the time, and that's probably what I'm gonna do here. You guys are gonna see me trying and not liking it, and then fixing it, and then seeing if maybe it turned out worse. It's how it always is. Eric, what do you mean by inks and colors or only inks? For this particular piece, Eric clarified that if I'm going to do it in inks or will I color it too. This one I'm just going to final pencil, kind of more the way I handle a cover original or something like that. So it's going to be all done in final pencil, and then I'm going to digitally color it. Alright, I'm going to turn this a little bit and move this over because I've realized my hand is in your guys' way. Alright, so I'm going to work on my direction lines here for Catwoman. Excuse me. Keith, it's not a commission. I kind of commissioned myself for it. It's just a piece I would like to draw. Sorry guys, I drank water the wrong way. Excuse me. Wow, I'm working on the faces right now, so you'll see the process. Have to see how this goes. Something like that, Keith. Okay, smiles sometimes take me a while. I'm really used to like grimaces and sensual facial expressions, but for this one I'm going to do a smile, and I want it to be a cheeky smile. But firstly, I need to get the camera out of my way because I can't see what I'm doing when it's where it was. Oops. Let's get some light on here. Oh, Kevin, I hope you feel better and that your recovery goes really well. Sorry, rotator cuff surgery. That's nasty. I hope you're okay, and yay, I'm glad you can be here watching, even if it just distracts you from the pain for a while. I hope you feel better soon, though. All right, I'm gonna move her finger out of the way because it is in my way and I can't see exactly how I want to do this. I'm so worried about not ruining the finger placement that I'm not actually drawing properly. So let's get that away and start over here. So her chin carries on a little bit behind the shoulder to about there. So I know that. And let's see if I can get this right. I'm using a Alvin Draft Tech 0.3 millimeter pencil right now. HB, yes, and I use 0.3 millimeters at the majority of the time. I do sometimes use 0.9, which I started with this morning, not this morning, but at the beginning of this live, I was using a 0.9, but I usually go between 0.9, 0.5, and 0.3. Thanks for hanging out for a while, Robert. Have a great afternoon. And I just bumped you guys with my forehead. Headbutt. Oh, and this is my precious. This is a Mono Zero eraser, and I got the round barrel one. You can get them on Amazon. And they're really handy to have when you need to erase just little small spots. It's the best. And then just any little craft brush will do, but I prefer to just clean little eraser shavings with a smaller brush as opposed to using this big guy that's just going to be dragging and smearing all day long as you're cleaning up your pencils. So I use this one to just only smudge a little spot as opposed to using this big guy. I use this one to clean my desk, not my art. Okay, so she's smiling, so I'm kind of picturing, you know, when you're smiling, your cheeks kind of raise and go up a little bit, so that's why I'm pulling up her cheeks a little bit. But again, I do have the very faint lines of knowing what the center line of her head is. So like the center of her nose is there, Cupid's bow is here, 2 front teeth are here, and I kind of, it helps me know where everything goes. Otherwise sometimes, and I have done it a million times where like the nose is in one spot and the mouth is over too far to the left or the right. And so keeping a basic halo of that line throughout my drawing really helps me not, you know, do some sort of very scary mismatch puzzle looking face. So right now I'm still just trying to work things out and see if this smiling face works or if I like it. And so I do a lot of erasing, a lot of trying, coming back to it and deciding I don't like it, and fixing it. But hopefully in the end it'll be a good piece. That's what I'm trying for, is to do a good job. And those take time and trial and error, at least for me. All right, I'm gonna actually take the other piece of paper out from underneath because I don't need it anymore, and the tape is starting to warp. So you can see my sketch is underneath, and then I just kind of went over it quickly in Photoshop wherever I wanted to change something. And I left Catwoman pretty much exactly the way I had her. Ivy I enlarged and kind of moved her body around, which is why my sketch lines are very faint. And you can see the sketch line of how I had Harley's head back, and then I changed my mind. Here, it's right here. So this is my sketch, and then this is my little digital fixes. I really can't draw digitally straight up. I have to draw it first on paper for some reason, but then I can fiddle with it on the computer and print it out to get it the right size. It saves time to be able to fix things and then move on without having to just redraw the whole thing. Nope, don't like. Smiles are really not my forte, it seems. So it's probably going to take me a minute, and I'm going to go back and fix it a bunch of times. Sorry guys if you get bored. Don't like it. It reminds you of Charlie's Angels? Yeah, I guess so, because there's 3 of them. Right, I gotta make sure that her eyes are in the right place. So I just draw a line going around. Her head is facing downward, right? So it would be going around her head, and here's her ear. So it's kind of meeting at the top of her ear, which I check sometimes. I'm putting my pencil at the top of my ear and pulling it around, and it's kind of right on my eyebrow actually. So I'm gonna pull. That eyebrow might be a little high. Oh, I'm so happy that you like that I'm drawing them, Bill. Thank you. And I need to move this eye down a teeny bit. So I'm going to work on that now. I'm going to come back to Catwoman's mouth. I'm going to think about it for a little while and try to figure out what it is I'm doing wrong. Yes, I use HB from start to finish, pretty much. I do have some 2B in my 0.5 millimeter pencil, so I use it if I need something really dark, but generally HB is really all I use. I was drawing both of the shapes in for the, for here. See, I had it like this, and it looks kind of like a butterfly on her forehead. So I'm just erasing it because the goggles do actually connect in the center. They're not three separate pieces from what I can see. Yeah, a clever smirk or something. That's what I'm going for. I just need to figure it out. Maybe I just need to not have her actually smiling. I need a piece of junk paper to put under my hand. Uno momento, por favor. Okay, this is just an old piece of paper that I was using for my layout. See, I blew the layout up big and then transferred it. I forgot I had this. But now I'm just going to use it to put under my hand as a hand guard, along with my glove. Okay, I felt like the paper was getting mushed or warped. All right, let's try a little smirk instead of with the teeth. Maybe it's the teeth that was kind of throwing me off. That looks weird, like some sort of grimace. This eraser is really really good. It seems to pick up stuff that other erasers can't. It's just the Pentel Click Eraser. So if I really have a smudgy part, see like here, that smudge is just gonna stay there forever. I went too dark on the paper. Yeah, Betty Page lopsided grin would do good too. I'll keep thinking about it. If I don't like this, her facial expression here, I'll change it or work around it somehow. Now her suit's pretty simple. There's not a ton in the way of detail that I have to put in. The coloring at the end when I try to make it look like a latex suit, that's going to be hard. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but it's just yet another thing to learn. Like I said, I don't know if any of you saw when I was working on the silk commission, the latex is always a bit of a challenge for me. Yes, William, this is live. Hello. Hi. Hi, Scott. Yeah, it's Friday Eve. That's awesome. Sorry, guys, I have to take off my sweater. The heat kicked in and it is really hot right now. Except it's freezing outside. Whew, my God, this morning was so cold here. I actually looked at the conversion on my phone, like for the weather. It was minus 16 Fahrenheit, I think, and like minus 27 centigrade for us. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to turn on my light table. It's cold. Hi, Drake. Thank you for stopping by. This is the first time I've actually shown, the sketchy process, which I haven't really felt confident in this part. It's not like I can just put my pencil on the paper and magic appears. It takes work. It takes a lot of struggle. It takes a lot of really trying something and realizing it doesn't work. But you guys can be here with me while I try and fail on some and succeed on others, and hopefully it'll turn into a really good piece. Fingers massively crossed. Good afternoon, Carl. Oh God, I wouldn't really say I have natural talent. I've been doodling my entire life. My mom had to actually make sections in my workbooks and everything where I could draw, and the places I had to leave without art on because it was actually school there. But it's like thousands of hours of drawing, and I need a few thousand more to feel like I'm really successing and getting it the way I want it to look. Okay, so I'm putting a seam right here on her suit. There isn't going to be much detail here on Catwoman. A lot of that is going to happen in the coloring stage, where we show the smooth latexy suit. I believe someone said, what do you use to make latex? Hi, Calvin. I use for this one, I'm just going to use digital coloring. And the thing that I've noticed in actually observing a lot of latex suits, and I do look them up. I look up latex suits, latex outfits, just to see how the light catches. And in my opinion, with latex, it is pure black and then picks up one really high pinpoint area of white. Like the contrast between black and white are very high. There's not a bunch of gray area, I suppose, if someone is wearing a black latex suit. And it's really just a matter of how you put the lighting on that makes it look latex or leather or matte, and it's tricky. It's all in the light and in the shadow, and how those lights and shadows meet each other that create the illusion to the viewer of what material or what item they're looking at. So it's an exciting process to try to learn to actually get across the point that this is latex, not leather. It's fun. It's a challenge I'm looking forward to. Drake, that sounds like you. Yeah, just drawing all over the schoolwork. Oh, thank you, Brandy. I hope it turns out good. I'm really excited to draw it, and I had a few different layout ideas. I was going for something a little bit more like some of them sitting, some of them standing, making it a little bit more complicated. But in the end, I decided to just go for simple. You can see all three girls. Everything is clear, and that's what I'm going for here. All right. Now I know I definitely want Catwoman in the foreground of Ivy, so I drew Ivy's hip bone all the way here just so that I knew exactly where her leg was. Obviously you can just guess it, but to know you're actually right in where you've put it, I draw through. And then I'm just going to erase that. Now she's pulling her arm back a little bit, and from that there's a few little lines right here just to show that she's pulling her outfit a bit. So again, I know that her outfit doesn't have these little lines. I just draw them myself for direction. But I can erase them now. So yes, I know it looks like I'm drawing a nude person right here, but no, she does have a latex suit on, everybody. Oh no, actually art, if it's art, it's okay now? That's awesome. Nobody report me. But still, in order to show that she is wearing a suit, and it's thin material, like latex is really, really thin, so I'm just going to put really close together lines to show that it's thinner material. So like here, because she's leaning back, there would be a few little lines right there. I'll probably put a couple more right here, but just really, really thin ones. And then I'd imagine right here there's a line going down the center of her suit. I mean the side, so like the actual side of her body. Where does she hide the jewels she steals? It's a very good question. I guess wear them and run. I need to measure and see if her arm is possibly too long. Her arm might be too long. I might have to fix that. What type of eraser? Ooh, I can't remember which one I used, but these are the erasers I really like, and this one. So this is a kneaded eraser by Faber-Castell. It comes in a little case, which is awesome because it keeps it from picking up all the like dirt and other eraser shavings and little bits of mechanical pencil and whatever stuff you have in your pencil case. So this keeps it safe, so I love it. Here in Canada, it costs $1.95, so I'd imagine in the States it's even cheaper. And then this is a Pentel Click Eraser. And this one I really like because it's softer and it really picks up a lot. And then this one is my other one that I use. It's called the Mono Zero. I got it on Amazon. I saw Mike Chrome was using one of these and I was just shocked at how nice and thin that is for getting detail. And I was like, oh my God, where did you get that? What is it? So I have to give Mike Chrome props for telling me what this one was. All right, let's see if this whole finger by mouth thing works. Oh, gotta make sure you guys can see it. Sorry, everyone. Here we go. Hi, Amy. Yeah, Drake, it's these are really great. It's definitely worth it to get one. All right, so there are the rest of her knuckles. I'm just measuring my finger against my face to sort of see how big her finger should be. My finger goes to my nose. Here we go. To see. Yeah, it should be good. I'll keep thinking about it and maybe fix it later, but she has long nails, so I'll just put that right there. Because they're kind of at the end of her, I don't know. I've been always trying to figure out what it is with Catwoman's nails. Are they part of her glove or are they sticking through her glove? Been so curious on that, and I really should know that by now, and I'm ashamed to say I don't. But are they part of her finger or part of her glove? Does anybody know? Yes, Joseph, I do have that workstation, and I used it for fixing up some of my layouts. So here, let me show you. Okay, so this was my teeny weeny little layout right here, and I was just trying out different ideas and scribbles. Look at these scribbles. Oh my God, scribbles everywhere. So this was the one that I decided to go with, and then what I did is I took that onto the computer and just blew it up full size and then sketched from this. Look at those scribbles, oh my God. Anyway, and what I did is I then fixed some of the lines on the computer. So you can see my sketch lines underneath. Now, Catwoman worked and I was really happy with my initial sketch, see here. But for Ivy, I'm sure I did too many steps. I'm just trying to do a decent job with this one. And so with this one, I actually did change some of my sketch lines. You can see them really lightly underneath. And I did that on the Cintiq. I don't have as big of a Cintiq as Todd McFarlane does, but it's the same basic thing. It's just a smaller one. I think his looks like the 24-inch or maybe bigger. Mine is the 22-inch. But it's the same basic concept. And then I printed that out, and just earlier on this video, I transferred that sketch onto the piece of paper I'm working on now. Most versions, they're part of her glove. Okay, that makes perfect sense then. Okay, thanks guys. I'm sorry for being a fail and not knowing that. All right, I may need to shorten her her arm a little bit. I have a feeling it's too long. They're metal. Thank you, Eric, and everybody. You guys are awesome for filling me in on that. And I really should have known that by now. Shame. Ding, ding. Thankfully with Catwoman, I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna be coloring this digitally, so I'm not, at least I don't plan at this point to do all the blacking on the actual pencils. I'll just do that on the computer and make it look all latexy. I'm gonna go like very latex, at least that's my plan for both of them, to make their outfits really, really shiny and smooth looking leather / latex. Walk of shame, right? Exactly. Ding, ding. Okay. Ivy time. Hi, Charles. Thank you for stopping by to say hi. Have a good afternoon. Yeah, I think that I need to move up Catwoman's hand a little bit, in which case I'm not sure if my whole plan here to have her holding the rope is gonna work anymore. So I might either need to straighten her arm or something. So I'm gonna need to do some adjustments here. For now, I'm gonna start in on Ivy. And you know what, guys? I do this every single time. I leave their eyes blank, which is why drawing Lady Death is so much fun, because I don't have to draw her. Well, there's many reasons why drawing Lady Death is fun. But for me, my real nemesis is getting both eyes to be looking in the same direction. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. And it's become like a running joke because, yeah, Dawn, you need to fix the eye. Dawn, you need to fix the eye. Every time. For Ivy, I'm going to do the one where she's wearing leaves and ivy. So I'll have some ivy here. I think her whole bathing suit is actually made out of leaves. And then she has some like leaf style wrist things, like big chunky bracelets. And then she has she has those slightly light green tights on. So I'm going to do that outfit, which I've never drawn before. I've never drawn her her outfit, that particular outfit. Yeah, I love Lady Death. And Brian and Francisca Pulido and the Coffin Comics crew just sent me a box. Ooh, I'll show you guys. They sent me a box, and inside I got a hoodie. And I'm so happy about my hoodie. And the whole back of the hoodie says Coffin Comics. Check it out. That's the back of my hoodie. I love it! It was one of my Christmas presents. Sorry, there's a little bit of lint on it because it was just on the back of my chair. But yes, this was one of my presents, and I'm so happy. They're so sweet, and to be so thoughtful and send me a hoodie like that and in my size, I'm so happy. Green stripes in Ivy's hair. Yeah, I want to put like green leaves in her hair, not necessarily the green stripes, but I'll try it. That's a great idea. Might as well. I'm going to be doing it, coloring it digitally, so I can actually try out a few different colors and see what works. So it's a great idea. I need to turn this a little bit. Drake, is asking how long did it take me to get to the point of being able to do this as my full-time job? It's a tough question to ask because at the time I wasn't working. I had just had a baby, so I was on mat leave. We had just moved to Canada. Basically, I wasn't really on mat leave. I just wasn't working. And I had just had my third child, so I was like, you know what? My kids are young. I'm probably just going to be a stay-at-home mom for now. And so I didn't really have anything else I was doing. So there was, at that time, I was able to like take a little bit of time. My husband supported me, of course, but then also like paid for me to go to my first San Diego Comic-Con, and I took my baby with me. Oh my God. I wasn't actually, I was just there as a fan and to sort of show the new comic book we had, which was J.P. Roth's Ancient Dreams. So I went with her for that, and my husband paid for it for me, and I'm so grateful to him. I'd say before I was actually, it could have been my income, maybe like a year. I definitely wasn't, I was just trying to draw. I wasn't really getting into it like seriously, until 2012. So in 2011, I started drawing and working with J.P. Roth, but we were still figuring out the comic and would I be inking it or drawing it, and you know, how we wanted to work it out. Then we got Mike Crome and Sabine started working with us too, and we were all getting everything started. And then at the beginning of 2012 is when we actually went to WonderCon and had our first booth, which was really fun and hilarious. I was running around barefoot half the time because I tried to go in heels and absolutely cannot walk in heels very well. But yeah, I'd say probably about a year. And then my baby was older and I was able to travel to conventions, and that's when things started working. And I was able to start at least supporting my artwork, supporting myself. That took, I don't know, like maybe if I was just me, a year and a half, maybe something like that. I'm so sorry, it's not a very clear answer. How old am I? I'm a lady. I'm at the point I don't have to answer that question. Heels at a con, not a good idea. Though I can wear wedges if you know what those are, Drake. I can wear wedges, but heels, nah. Also, then I'm just really tall. I had this one pair of heels I was wearing, and I think when I was wearing them, I'm like 6'2". Lol. One of these days I'll get brave and tell everybody my age. Yeah, I really haven't drawn a Vampirella in so long. Maybe one of these days I'll get to do an actual Vampirella cover, fingers crossed. I should try to see if I can. Oh, thank you, Andrew. That's so kind of you. Laura, it is tough, especially if you're taking care of your child full time. There was one point, I think, when my son was I'd have to say, I think he was about a year and a half. I put him in a daycare for a little while, and there were many reasons, mostly because he wasn't eating with me. He wanted to nurse, and I needed to wean him, but he wouldn't eat. So he would eat with other people, as weird as that is. So I did it for that, and so that I could have some time to draw. But it's tricky when you have young children. I have 3 children, but they are getting older. At the beginning, literally I would draw at night. So I was tired. I would put my baby down and then get up and work for like 3 or 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours, sometimes all night long, and then just nap with him throughout the day. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but at the time I just really we were working, we had a goal, we were trying to get this comic book out, and I wanted to be a part of it so bad. So you just don't sleep. But I wouldn't say you should really follow that. But yeah, it's mostly just grabbing little times to work, and you get more used to it. You know, when you have the time, of course, it feels like, well, I'm going to work when I have a big chunk of time, and it's only worth it to work if I have a big chunk of time to work in. But, you know, as a mom, you have to Yes, just work at night, work whenever you can find a minute, and yeah, coffee. Lots and lots of coffee. Thank you. I can't wait to get this one finished. And then I actually got a program that records while I'm digitally coloring. So I'll start doing like sped up digital colors to show you guys. Now that I've actually started coloring my own work, I can do that and show you how I set up the files and everything like that. Okay, Ivy has that bathing suit, so let's get that in there. So I'm just taking my kneaded eraser and I'm lightly erasing all of these form lines that I have so that I can put in her body. Fabio, yes, I do the colors. So when I'm done with this, I'll draw the final piece, which will be an 11 by 17, and then I'll color it digitally for this one. Some I color with Copic markers, and but this one will be digital. Sorry, water break, everybody. One sec. Andrew, I don't remember any creepy guy. I'm sure you weren't creepy, but yeah, I'm not tall if I'm in flats. It's just when I decide to wear those big chunky metal heel things that I have, my New Rock boots, that yeah, I'm kind of tall. Okay, so her bathing suit, it's basically like a strapless bathing suit here. So I'm just going to set that up. I'd like to have Ivy going all around and swirling around the girls and stuff so that it's not so static. So that's my plan here, is once I get all this down, I'll start drawing in a lot of the extra bits. Water break sounds a lot like beer break. It's not, Joseph, I promise. Here's my water bottle. Proof, no beer. It's just a glass bottle. Keith, it is... No, this is up for grabs. So when I'm done with the sketch of this and then the final piece, they're both up for grabs because I've just kind of... this is something I've been wanting to do most of last year too, but just didn't have the time, is to set up something for my free print for this year. I always have a vodka. Guys, I'm not a drinker. I swear to God, it's water. Yeah. Lol. Oh, yay. Okay, I was wanting to make sure that she didn't... how you set up the lines right here is how it tells you her body is going and the shape of her stomach and stuff. And so I know it's very hard to actually attain a comic book body like these girls. You know, you have to like stay off carbs and work out 6 hours a day and all of that stuff. But since they're drawn, we get to skip all that and be unfair. But I really do like drawing very, very fitness style girls for the way I draw comic book characters. And that's just a personal preference. It's just how I like to draw them. But here I like to make sure that their stomachs look nice and fit. So I want to try to make sure that their stomach lines are in the right place and the lines of the bathing suit show their body. I mean, I know that she's in some Ivy suit, but at least I can show this. Thanks for being here, Joe. It was great to talk with you. Have a good one. Yeah, that's right, Alexis. It's like dancer bodies. These girls are running all around fighting bad guys or being bad guys or stealing stuff or whatever, and you know, they're running all the time. Like professional dancers also are very fit because they're dancing all the time. So to me it makes sense. I'm sitting on at my chair all the time, which is no bueno. I really need to do better at workouts. Now's the time for me to actually start thinking about how do I try to add in interest. So this is where the interest point comes in. I'm just going to be trying different things to see what works. Like I may want to give her some sort of choker, or the ivy leaves coming down around her neck. Okay, they're asking, how long does it take to finish a commissioned piece? To be honest, it's a very, very difficult question to answer for me because sometimes it goes quickly and I can finish it in like a day. Other times it takes longer. Though for a lot of them, for a full body Daredevil and Elektra, if I had time, I could do it all in one day. It's just my hours are very broken up. So I'd have to see if I had that much time. Sometimes I can do something like that at a convention if it's on a blank. If we're talking 11 by 17, that would take me longer. Probably more like 2 days. Especially if I'm coloring it. What's my favorite character to draw? It almost depends on the mood. You know, I really love drawing Harley. I really love drawing Lady Death. I really love drawing so many characters. All the Divinica characters that I'm working on, the Rothic characters, they're all have their own thing that's so exciting and inspiring to draw. If I'm feeling like drawing something with like paint splatter dripping down all over the place and just going crazy on grungy stuff, well then Harley's the character to draw probably, you know, so it just depends. So Harley's outfit is pretty set. The way that the her neck piece is and all of that is pretty clear. But for Ivy, I think that I can play around with the Ivy itself and kind of make it, the Ivy parts of her can kind of have a life of their own. So I just want to put the Ivy coming from her body and everything in a place where it accentuates and makes her look the prettiest possible. So that's what I'm working on right now. Drake is asking if I ever write stories or do I just draw. I can say with a 110% certainty that I am not a writer and will most likely never actually, I guess they say never, but I have zero plans to write any stories. For me, a Facebook post is challenging enough. I think I'm gonna stick with art. All right, so she does, from what I can tell, they're tights on Ivy. And so I'm just putting a couple little like lines from the tights on her. Right there. Now, this outfit consists of completely leaves, but I don't want to draw every leaf individually, not because I'm trying to be lazy, but just because it's overwhelming. I feel when there's just every last little detail is put in, it's distracting, and it'll just look like a big mush on her outfit right in the center of the page. Like her suit or her bathing suit is literally smack dab in the middle. So I want to make sure that point, and both basically the other girls are leaning in toward her, so I need to make sure that it looks really on point and super pretty. And I don't want to like do too much detail or anything, so I'm gonna try to work on this particular part, and I'll probably be thinking about it for a while and erasing stuff and trying, but you know, you guys are here for the process, so I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing. I may change the design of some of this and put some ivy leaves going up like that. Some vines. I'm just going to be trying a few different things. Andrew's asking, you find yourself getting stuck between graphite shading and using heavy lines like comic style. What has helped you in getting where you're at? I was definitely super into graphite shading before too, and it's just changing your medium. It's changing how you draw, and you know, you can take steps to just sort of meet your inclinations, I guess, to make it all shaded in the middle by doing some of it shaded, and then some parts just where the shades collect and where it's, see right here, I'm essentially doing shading of showing you where this is, where her breast ends and her stomach begins, but I've just done it in a single line. So just go where the shade starts or ends and make that a line, and try that and just see how that works for you. All right, again, you guys are just here for my testing things out. And I do this a lot just to try to find different ideas, see what works, see what would look pretty on ivy. And I actually may want to change it and have her wearing garters instead of being solidly green. I've seen her done a few different ways, so there may be some leeway there. Oh yeah, it is hard to move from shading to comic style. It takes a while, but it over time you will get used to it. Just do it little by little and push yourself out of your comfort zone a teeny bit. Try making some of it in lines only and some of it in comic style, and then keep going from there. I can actually show you a piece I've been working on that is sort of half-half. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this is a piece I'm working on, and you can see right here, I did it all in shading. This is a sketch that I'm working on. It was going to be the final, but I want to change some things, so I'm still working on it. And then some of it I'm turning more into line art and erasing my sketch and shade lines. So this is a Medusa piece that I'm working on for Divinica. And so that is the process of getting rid of the shading. So like here with all these lines now, I would literally just take that line and make it black, make that an indentation a little bit, and then be done with that. This one is the sketch and it's already claimed, but when I do the final, I am gonna take my shade lines and just make them straight up line art, if that makes sense. And then here, a lot of this was all shaded and I've just changed it and turned it into lines completely. And so, yeah, she has little, like, the snake eyes. Anyway, so this is a piece I still need to finish. After that momentary break, let's get back to trying to design an outfit for Ivy here. So I may want to do something like this and have her gloves be longer. No, Ben, I don't typically shade. That one was a special case where at the time I was planning on actually sending it off for colors with all of that shading. But now there's so much I've needed to change on the piece and I want to work on with the piece that I want to restart and be able to work on it fresh. That's my thing, is a dirty piece of paper with too much graphite on it or too many scribbles. It kind of drives me crazy. And so if something's had too much work done on it, I'll just go get another piece of paper, which is probably really not the best idea. I should be comfortable with a bit of a mess. I'm just not super comfortable with a bit of a mess. Oh, thank you, Robs. All right. I'm just going to put this back. In some ways, I'm kind of toying between two things. Do I go completely rogue and design a completely new outfit? I have no intention of changing Harley or Catwoman's outfits, but I'm wondering, like, should I just go crazy and design my own Ivy bathing suit outfit thingy, or should I just keep them all very clear and clean of who they are? And because this one I'm drawing for myself, most commissions, when I get a commission, they'll be very clear on which version is their preference. You know, should I do a movie version of Ivy? Should I draw the game version of Ivy where she's all green and has that maroon top, or what should I do? And so usually I'm very well aware of which style of character I'm working on. It's just funny when it's I can kind of draw whichever one. Opens up too many possibilities sometimes, but this will be fun. All right, I'm going to work on Ivy's face for starters. Draw them as my favorite versions. That is a good idea. That's true. Have I ever worked in Procreate? I like Procreate. Yes, I have worked in it. It's a great program and it's really fun to use. It's, in my opinion, I would use it for sketching because it has an incredibly good plugin that you can get for perspective grids, which is amazing. And if I ever need to draw buildings again or anything like that for interior work or even cover work, I'm telling you, Procreate is awesome for that. As far as for everything else, It's more of a digital painter kind of medium. I've seen that Loish uses it a lot for her gorgeous pieces. I haven't figured out quite how to use it for Photoshop, and since I have a Cintiq, I personally don't use it for digitally coloring any work I'm doing, like actual cover work. But it's a great thing to have, and I don't think it's very expensive, so I would totally suggest that you try it. All right, I'm having vision problems again. This camera is right where my head would normally be to draw. Soon we're gonna get the actual arm that we got, and it won't be attached to the kettlebell, and then my life will be very much better. So hopefully you guys can see, I'm turning it at an angle so that I can see her face properly. All right, I'm gonna take a momentary break. I need to go open my door because it's way too hot in here, and I think the heater is having a freak out right now. All right, so this is for the interlude. And this is the free print that you can get on my website. I am gonna be back in less than 30 seconds. I just need to go open my bedroom door. Hold, please. I'm back. All right, here we go. Sorry, I think what's happening is my the thermostat is right outside my bedroom door, and so it's not registering that it's hot in the house and it's warm enough. Stop heating, please. I want to have her head a little further down. There we go, that's better. Thank you, Ian. That's kind of what I was trying to imply. I'm glad you got it. Her eyes might be too far apart, actually. Let's fix that. And they were too round for what I'm trying to accomplish here. And then really all the attitude is in the eyebrows. Brandy, yes, I will be at the Calgary Expo this year. Yay! Thanks, Rick. I'm glad you're liking it so far. Yes, sorry I didn't make it to the Edmonton one. I'm trying to this year. I'm just waiting for them to post their dates. Bill, I didn't re-up for Denver this year, only because I've been there for a few years in a row, but I plan to re-up for Denver in 2019. I'm gonna miss you guys so bad. I love that show, and I really have a fun time there. I'm just going to switch it up and then come back in a while. Sometimes I've sit for many hours in a row, which isn't good. You know, it's good to get up, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, get some water, you know. Probably I can go about 3 or 4 hours. So I'm just erasing some of the guidelines I had in there. And that little mono eraser is fantastic for just cleaning up little bits like that. Pull up her eyebrows a little bit more. Now here, since it's the sketch and I don't need to worry about the scanning, I can kind of put in a little shading. Gets me excited about the coloring and gives me ideas. The brush is awesome. I love having that brush. Hey, Michael. It's great that you made it. All right, I'm gonna stop on this for now because it's not stop on the entire piece. I'm done with Ivy's face for now, because in about 40 minutes, I'm gonna have to go pick up my kids from school. So I'm gonna try to get Harley done. So let's do that. Do I have any advice for drawing hair? That's a good one, Rick. I am not a fan of drawing hair because it's just so flowy and, you know, I actually find it really confusing. I love the way so many artists draw hair. And I'm always trying to do better at it. But one suggestion that I was given one time is to look at hair underwater and think of it more like that, in like flowing big pieces, and make it soft. Or look at, oh, you know what I've done is I've looked at blowing cloth, you know, and I try to think of it more like blowing cloth and how the cloth is going when it's caught in the wind. And that really helps to kind of give hair that soft, flowy look as opposed to just random strands going all over the place. So, but hair takes me a long time. So it takes me a while to figure it out. I have to erase stuff and go start over. Kind of the way that I instinctually will start throwing lines down. I need to go in the opposite direction. Hence only one of the three girls have their hair showing. Right! Yay! I'm not entirely sure about Ivy's face. I may need to move her eyes up. I think they may be too low on her body. Let's see. Something is wrong. Oh, but I promised you guys I wouldn't stay tripped off on Ivy and I would start working on Harley. So I'll just do that for now. Oops, head bonk. And maybe I'm actually gonna move her eyes up. I have to see about that. All right. Just doing that, those little bobble thingies that come hanging down. There's 3 in the front. So I need to make sure I incorporate those 3 in the front. Like so. Sorry guys, I keep headbutting the camera. Wow, that's amazing about your cousin, Leo. That is so cool. So drawing her rib cage here is really going to help me know where to put her, the cuts in her suit, because it essentially meets like a 4 square right here in the center of her, her body. And so this is really the center line right here. And so having all those different guidelines really help, because then I can actually see, where all these different things need to go. Or if you were drawing a like crop top on somebody, having the rib cage in place, then all you have to do is just follow the line, which is really handy. Hi, Corey. Might be a little big. So I'm just going to shrink them down a teeny weeny bit. Sabrina, if your boyfriend says you can, I'm sure you can. Thank you for hanging out for a second, Sabrina. Thank you, Keith. You guys are all so kind. I still have things I'm going to be working on with it and trying to fix up. This is just my sketch. Then on the final, I'll clean all of this up and make any final decisions on things. Yeah, there's something. It's really great when I actually look at it on the camera. It's like I'm looking at it in a mirror, and I can see any mistakes. So this is actually pretty handy. Oh, Alexis, that's awesome. Yay, drawing together. Thank you all for being so kind. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad to have you all here with me. It's really fun, and you know, you can see my mistakes. Like, oh, if any of you saw me refilling the wrong marker, I still have to fix that and try to flush that marker. So I'm going to be making tons of mistakes on here as well, and you can see everybody has them. Thank you so much, Fernando. thank you so much, everyone. I'm so glad that you're thinking it's coming along well and working. It's not a commission piece technically. I'm kind of commissioning myself to do it. I'd like to have a Gotham City Sirens piece in my roster, so I'm just drawing it up for fun. It's kind of been on my hopefully can get to-do list for ages. I love the DC universe as well, so much. Oh, Bill, I'm glad you like it. I'll once I have the original and the sketch completed, I'll write around, I guess, to my email list and let everybody know that they're available. So can always keep an eye on that. If you're not subscribed to my email list, please do so, and then you'll be one of the first to know. That's where I inform people when I will be available for commissions again, which isn't for a while yet, but my email list will be the first place to be informed of that, or the first place to get any new arrivals to my website, like originals and stuff like that. So definitely go sign up, and it's free. I think I'm going to actually change my mind and put Ivy's hip resting in front of Harley's, so that we can see a little bit more of Ivy. Because Catwoman's covering her here, and I'm worried it's going to make Ivy's body look too odd if you can't see at least one hip. So I'm putting Catwoman in front here, but then Ivy sort of in front of Harley. I'm with you, Fabio. I love the original concept. And I love the DC universe. They're awesome. So cool. Alrighty. I'm gonna get Harley's face done. You love Ivy's height? Oh, yay, thank you. I was, that's why I had to take my sketch and pull it into the computer, because I really, from all my observations in the comic books, I think Ivy has a good couple inches on Harley. And so that's why I decided to draw her a bit taller and bigger than the other two. I think Harley, like when you see pictures of them up against like a, you know, where they're taking a picture, they've just gotten arrested, whatever that's called, a height chart. Harley's about 5'6", and Ivy's about 6 foot, if I remember correctly, something like that. So anyway, they're that's what I was trying to base this off of. Is I'd imagine Catwoman's maybe like 5'8", Harley's 5'6", and Ivy's like 5'11" or 6 foot. I may just be putting way too much thought into all of this, which is classic Dawn. But yeah, that's what I figured when I was drawing it. Oh, thank you, Alex. I'm glad you noticed. The more I see it, though, I'm pretty sure I'm going to move Ivy's eyes up. Just drawing in her head to make sure that I've got everything in the right place. Oh, really? Ivy is shorter than Harley? Because I checked it. There was a cover with them all up against the a height chart, and Harley was 5'6" and Ivy was the opposite. Oh my God, bummer. Oh well, I'm going to get corrected about that a lot. Or I'll just shrink Ivy back down. Thank you for telling me, Drake. Is there like a place I can actually find where their height is listed? Is that like on Wikipedia or something? Yes, that one, the Adam Hughes cover. And that showed their height. Oh, thank you, Stephen. That's so kind of you. I really hope that I do a good job on this one. So I'll definitely be working on some of these things a bit more, you know, in the process. I might work on their faces a bit more. I usually work on the faces I put the most time, I'd say, of everything into the faces. At least I try to. Okay, everything's looking wonky on the video. Something isn't right here. I'm going to put the camera straight on. You're still seeing the art at an angle though, which is a little bit of a problem, but I think that'll help because I had the camera on an odd angle, which was kind of making the work look weird too. So it would be fine when I'm looking on the paper and then it looked weird on the camera. Thanks, Drake. Kevin, get some good rest. I hope you feel better soon. Thanks for hanging out. And thank you all for your kind compliments. It really means a lot. I'm still trying to learn myself, but it's fun to be on with all of you. Thanks for hanging out, Alex. Hi, Yolanda. Stephen, I start with the head usually. So I work everything out from the face and work downward. I mean, but this is like I draw like a little oval egg shape for the face, and then do all the different blockings, and I break up the body. Matt's asking, do you draw for DC? Yes, I have worked for DC. I've done some interior work on Harley and her gang of Harleys, and then I did a variant cover for Justice League versus Suicide Squad. But I'd like to work with them more, at some point. Lately, I've been working on interiors for a series I'm working on called Divinica by Rothic Comics. But yeah, working for DC was really, really, really fun. And they're such nice people. I really enjoyed it. And of course, who doesn't want to draw Harley, right? Oh yeah, Marvel would be so fun. I just haven't, I really haven't had a chance to, take my portfolio to a Marvel editor or any of those things. So it's just something I need to work on. I'm not taking commissions at the moment, Matt, because I have a bit of a wait list that I need to work through. But as soon as I can make it through my wait list, then yes. Get some sleep, Ketan. Okay, their facial expressions are the thing I'm going to need to work on to decide how I want them all to be. Faces are the most important part, for sure. I've got her face down a little too low again. I go through phases where like the face is too, like I'm drawing all the heads too big. And then I go through another phase where I'm drawing all the heads too small. And then the eyes are too high or too low. And it's like I go through these weird ass phases. And then I have to, it's like I'm the pendulum that's just swinging from doing heads too small. So then I try to make them a little bigger, and then I make them too big, and then I make the eyes too small, and then I make the heads too small. And oh my God, it's just like the never ending. But hopefully at some point I'll stop swinging from side to side and get everything just perfect always. That would be heaven. Thanks, Matt. Drake, yeah, the joys of being an artist. Nothing is ever perfect. Things happen. That is so true. Oh my God. Drives me banana bonkers. One of these days, though. Okay, I'm trying to hurry up and get at least a basic down for Harley's face before I have to go. So this is going to be slightly hurried. I'm such a mom. I know, I am such a mom. That's what happens when you have 3 kids. Okay, so Harley has the goggles on, your, whatever, the mask. So I'll put the mask in after I draw the eyes. Oh my God, Tom, that's right. I have the Andrew Loomis books. They are the best. I'm trying to read through all of them. I've never actually read through them. So I have like my highlighter and I am highlighting everything that I want to go back and reread a million times. And yeah, Andrew Loomis, the best. Thanks, Robert. It's going to be a free print for conventions. So I'm going to take it with me to shows, and I did not like where her head is at all. So I'm fixing the whole thing. I think that was what was throwing me off, is her face was in the wrong place. Tom, this is 8.5 by 11, and it's just for my sketch. Once I'm done with all the scribbles, it's because too many lines on a page kind of drive me crazy. So I do the sketch and all the rough lines and this whole messy bit, which kind of tweaks my brain out a little bit. I do it on an 8.5 by 11, and then I blow it up for 11 by 17 and transfer. Yeah, it's nice to have you here. Have a good one. I'm so sorry, Yolanda, that you didn't get in for Denver. That's such a bummer. It took me a couple years, actually, to be able to get into Denver Comic Con. I think like 2 years of trying before we got, or I got a table for the show. So it just takes a little while, I think. Sorry, love. Thank you, Jason. Okay, take 2. I moved Harley's head over a little bit. And this should be a little better. Yeah, I think it took me like 2 years. Oh, thanks, Corey. I'm glad. Yeah, sometimes things just aren't working and I realize it's just the whole foundation is wrong and I need to erase it and start over. I started out in comics actually inking. I drew the cover as a penciler and then I inked the interiors for the book because Mike Crome was the penciler and I inked for Ancient Dreams, and that was like my first published credits. And I penciled the cover though. Oh, Anthony, I'm so glad that you found this to be a perfect end to your workday. Yay, thank you. Oh yeah, much better. Her face is actually coming together. All right. Now I've left enough room, hopefully, for her to have a smile. To ink my piece, I just use my pencil. I don't actually ink it. It's like I fake ink it as a penciler, if that makes sense. Sometimes little eraser shavings get stuck on this thing and they just don't come off, so I just wipe them off like that. It's Fink it. Thank you. Should do tutorials. Okay, time is definitely running out for me. I'm gonna have to run to pick up my kiddos very shortly. So I'm just trying to get the basics down here. Now I'll keep working on the faces. If I have more time when I get home, I'll keep working on it, and then maybe if I have enough time, tomorrow is my daughter's 13th birthday, so I'm probably going to be hanging out with her for most of the time, but if I have any time before birthday festivities, I'll try to finish this piece up and do that live with you guys if any of you are around. Have a nice night. Okay, well, I know I want to give Harley a smile, but drawing pretty smiles or smiles that I'm happy with, that have the right amount of sass and the right amount of naughty, but the right amount of whatever, they take me a while. I have to do a fair few tries to try to get them right. So I'll be working on that for a little while. And I think that her jaw is too sharp. So at least I know where I want the face to be, but then I'll just kind of keep chiseling away at it, almost like a sculptor, where I just work at it, don't like something, erase it. That's why this paper starts getting really messed up, and I don't really care for it at the end. And that's why I switched to a new piece of paper. Oh, I definitely will post the final, I promise. And thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a ton of fun. And if I'm able, which I hope to be, I'll do another live tomorrow to show you the wrap up, and maybe once I'm transferring it to board. How does a 22-year-old have 13-year-olds? LOL! Yeah, working on the lips. It's so important. It's really like the most important part of the face. So you need to make sure that they're pretty and, you know, it's, or they're giving off the right vibe that you were going for, and that they look feminine, or that they look like the character you're trying to do. So it definitely takes a while. Sometimes I'll just get it right the first time, and then it's whoopee, good day. Otherwise, no. All right, need to check the time. See, just the slightest change. That didn't look happy enough. well, thank you for hanging out with me, everybody. I'll be heading out right about now, almost done. Thank you all for being here, for watching this with me, for your kind comments. Here we are with the rest of the piece. So that's the bottom, and there's the girls. And I'll be working on Ivy's hair and getting it all ready for transfer to an 11 by 17, which I can show you hopefully tomorrow. So I hope you all have a great evening, and that you get good rest, or that you have a good day wherever you are in the world. Love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll finish up Gotham City Sirens tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Have a good one. Bye.